Hey, how we doing out there tonight, guys? This is Frank, House of Orange Sports Channel, Part 3 of our Tennessee Baseball 2025 season preview. Today, we'll talk about the catchers. We know how much last couple years where, with Cal Stark, maybe the bat wasn't always there, but how many times, especially last year, how big was he with those back picks to first base? I mean, you cannot say enough about the job he did as an actual catcher last year. And, he had some big hits along the way too, but Cal Stark is gone. Now, does Cannon Peebles take the job and run with it? It was Cannon Peebles' job out of the gate last year, but his struggles led to Cal Stark getting the job. As, they kind of started out Peebles' job. He wasn't hitting, and they had him up in the middle of the order too. Cal Stark then was hitting. Cal Stark's defense was better. Not that Cannon Peebles' defense was bad, but Stark's was better. Stark won the job. The rest was history. What I like, those people stuck around. Or Peebles, not Peebles. Peebles stuck around. He didn't hit the road at this point. Now, barring he takes care of business, it should be his job. But this is a good stable of catchers that they've gotten. There's a lot of potential here as well. Of course, I'm going to start with Cannon Peebles. And why was everybody excited about him is what we ask. And I don't mean that condescending or anything like that. It's because of 2 years when he transferred into North Carolina State. He had an excellent freshman year in North Carolina State. He tied for the team lead with 50 RBIs, had 12 home runs and just 142 at-bats. There was one game here, it said, against NJIT. I don't know who that powerhouse is, but March 4th of 2023, he went 6 for 6 with 3 doubles, 2 home runs, 2 runs scored, and 10 RBIs. That's pretty impressive. The reason he transferred is because he was mainly DHing. I cannot remember the dude's name now for NC State, but they had probably the top catcher in the game last year. And so Peebles transferred, came to Tennessee. He was seen as a big pickup, and it just didn't happen last year for him. Now, could it have been going from SEC to ACC? Possibly, but it started before SEC play. But Peebles did some good things. He had some big at-bats later on in the year. He hit 216, which he's better than that. 2 home runs, 24 RBIs, struck out 34 times and 116 at-bats. He walked 30 times, had 4 sac flies along the way. And again, some of those at-bats he had later in the year, just some walks, some sac flies, ended up being big at-bats. I know he had some big at-bats in the Kentucky series, especially in that Sunday game. There's some others along the way too. He is expected to be the main guy this year. Can he put it all together this year? That's going to be the key. And, for this Tennessee team, for that offense, I don't think there's any concern that the offense is not going to – it's going to be hard to replicate last year, but you need a guy like Cannon Peebles to step up, be that guy that we thought we were getting last year. Because if he doesn't, there's enough talent behind him that will pass him up and not look back. And here's the thing with Peebles as well. This is his draft year. He has a big year this year. You got to think he's off to the MLB draft after this season. When Cannon Peebles, he won't catch every single game. They'll mix it up midweek some. Stone Lawless appears to be that guy, and they're high on him. He's 6'2", 225. Carey has said on here, he said Stone Lawless is huge. He's seen him around campus a lot when he's down there. And just a big dude, supposedly. But Stone Lawless can catch. He can play first base as well. And from what I've been told on him, he is a really good all-around catcher. And I know this staff was really high on him when he come in last year. He is considered a redshirt freshman this year. And according to what I'm showing, perfectgame.com had him. I wanted to pull that up here as number 244 overall. He's out of Huntsville, Alabama. So They're going to be expecting him to come in. And somewhere I expect Stone Lawless to really make his mark this year, whether he's catching, he can play first base, or whether he's DHing. I think somewhere along the way, there's enough of these bats that it's going to be hard to keep out of the lineup. And there's a couple guys, maybe 3 of them I'm getting ready to talk about here, including Stone Lawless. So Stone Lawless, again, is your backup, redshirt freshman. I think that's what I'm thinking on it. The third guy I'm going to look at is Levi Clark. Levi Clark was ranked 36th overall, Marietta, Georgia. He's listed 6'2", 195. Again, I talked about this on the pitching videos. These guys, this is high school weights from Perfect Game. So you've been in a Tennessee strength and conditioning program. They've put on 10 to 15 pounds at this point because they're with, of course, strength and conditioning program. They do get to meet with nutritionists as well. So he's put on there. Levi Clark is one. I don't know if his long-term position is catcher or not. Now, I get it. You catch different guys. You travel around. It's tough. But some of the videos I've seen him catching Coons, catching Krenzel at Perfect Game, he struggled a little bit with the catches. And I think that's something, obviously, with Josh Elander, we'll work with him on that. But if that is an issue, he won't catch in Knoxville. But, here's the thing of it, though. You've got one of the best catching coaches in the game. You think of it every year, Tennessee, they've had solid catching. I mean, every year that I can remember, going back to Connor Pavoloni. I mean, when Evan Russell made the switch back in 2022, I thought Evan Russell did a great job that year, and that was a really good pitching staff. Evan Russell was the catcher on it, too, and his pop time was excellent, too, that year, especially for a guy who had played outfield pretty much the whole time. Switched back out of necessity, and like I said, I thought he did a really good job. Cal Stark behind the plate the last 2 years. The catching aspect, great catcher as well. Peebles, I expect that. Stone Lawless. Again, Levi Clark coming in. I expect they'll get him going in the right direction with that. But he's another one of those, too. His bat is going to be hard to keep out of the lineup. They said in fall ball he took Nate Snead deep. And this dude can hit. He has a lot of power in the lineup. And I think he's another one of those. He's going to be hard to keep out of the lineup. He's too good of a hitter that, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. It really is. Can he, from what I've gathered, of course, he can catch. He can play first base. I think they've worked him some in the outfield, worked him a little bit in the outfield in fall ball as well. And of course, there's the DH option. Not everybody can DH, though. And, when we get to it I'm curious to see how the fielding works out. And I know Kerry's already done the infield videos, and he alluded to it a little bit. I'm curious to see if Andrew Fisher sticks at third base the whole time or not. To me, that was a big question coming in, was his defense. He wasn't playing third base at Ole Miss. Will it stick here in Knoxville? I mean, if it's a problem, I know there were errors in the fall, errors in scrimmages and stuff. In my opinion, you can't afford to keep a liability out there. So we'll see how good he is defensively. If Fisher moved over, I don't think Fisher DHs at any point, but could he go to first base? Could he go to the outfield? Possibly. Could a Clark or a Lawless play some third base? Dalton Bargo can play third base, and Dalton Bargo is believed to be the first baseman or the leading candidate for it right now. So what changes can you make? I mean, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of flexibility in this lineup with it. And then you got Brooks Wright. He's a freshman out of Bearden in Knoxville. He ranked, according to Perfect Game, 341 overall. He's listed 5'11", 200. Brooks Wright had opened some eyes in fall ball with his power as he went yard a good bit of times. And I've heard his catching ability is really good. So, but the thing of it is it a case of, is there enough reps for everybody to get reps behind the plate this year with Peebles and Lawless leading the charge? Could Clark get some time? Could Wright? I mean, that one's going to be, if Wright is hitting like he did in the fall, that's going to be another one of these guys, going to be hard to keep him out of the lineup. It's a good problem to have for sure. And then there's 2 more guys, I think. Chris Newstrom's a guy Kerry talked about him some with the infield, but Chris Newstrom is listed. He's true freshman. He was ranked 118 overall shortstop out of Phoenix, Arizona, 6'2", 200. He's listed as a shortstop. He can play all around, though. He can play all around the infield. He can catch as well. And from what I've heard, he's a pretty good catcher. Also, could he get reps? He did get some reps in fall ball back there. So where do they maybe find a place for Chris Newstrom? If he's hitting the ball or his versatility, will that allow him in the lineup? There's going to be good players probably left out this year. It's the unfortunate thing about it. But it's a good thing and it's a bad thing at the same time. And I hope a lot of these guys just has patience and sticks in there if, they're not a focal point, because we've seen guys every year who've waited their turn in Knoxville under Tony Vitello, and then when they get their turn, they step up. I hope all these guys, because this is the best freshman class that they've brought in maybe ever in school history. I hope these guys will stay patient, because they did come into a national title team, and there's good players coming back this year as well. And then, the wild card with it, Dalton Bargo can catch as well. He has caught some. He come in listed as a catcher. I expect he'll be the main first baseman, or at least to start. But he can play everywhere. He can play the outfield. He can play third base. He can catch. So you could do a lot with Dalton Bargo. This is a big year for him. And he's one of the guys. I feel he and Reese Chapman are the two. Last year, they kept getting opportunities at DH, and they did good things. They definitely did good things. But there was that consistency there. These two guys step up. If this is their year, step up. This is big for this team. We're going to need those guys. But, man, this is a good stable of catchers. It really is, with Peebles, Lawless, Levi Clark, Brooks Wright. And then, like I said, you can play Chris Newstrom or Dalton Bargo. I don't think Bargo catches anymore. I don't know if they need to. His versatility out in the field will pay off. Newstrom, like I said, I've heard he's a really good catcher as well. Supposed to be a really good baseball player. Lots of talent, man, on this team. It's going to be fun again this year. And this team, I'm telling you, they are set up for years down the line to be good. And the way they're recruiting, right now for this current class, they're ranked second to LSU. Now, granted, not all those guys are going to make campus. They've got some top 10 dudes on that. I'd be shocked if they make it campus, but you never know now. But if you're a member of the channel, you'll get all the videos. I'm recording this right now while the national title game's going on. I'm uploading all of the preview videos tonight. So if you're a member of the channel, you get them all tonight. You can watch them. But I'll release the catching video Tuesday night, or Tuesday. We'll release quarter infielders Wednesday, middle infielders Thursday, outfielders Friday, and then we're going to determine when we want to do our live show to kind of sum it all up along the way as well. The initial response was going to be next Monday night, but Lady Vols play South Carolina Monday night at 7. I don't want to go against that, because I want to watch the game. But you guys have a great rest of your evening. Frank, House of Orange, make sure you hit that like, that share, that subscribe. Check out that membership tier. The link is in the description. There's the Patreon. There's also down in the bottom right corner of the video. If you want to say thanks, there is the super thanks option as well. All donations or tips, they do go toward the channel, and they're greatly appreciated. Have a great rest of your evening. Frank, House of Orange, go Vols.